Yeah, sorry for the delay, everybody. We were looking at the stock market, and the system failed us. And I've got to do an update on XSplit, and I think I'm going to do it tonight. But I think they've got a few little bugs they're working out. I'm going to have to do that update to fix this. But what I do in the evening is I combine all of the videos that I've just recorded into one video, and I upload it to YouTube, or I deliver it in parts. But tonight I'm going to combine them all into one. It doesn't take me more than a few minutes to do that. Really fast, nonlinear editing capability exists now. All right, so vegan Beyond Meat burgers are just ultra-processed patties that can be bad for our health. This is the news coming out of nationalpost.com. While most people eat a Beyond Meat burger for ethical reasons, it does little for that person's health. In fact, it may be more harmful than good. Yeah, Tim Hortons is offering a whole series of meatless burgers. People are wondering why they're getting into the meatless burger business when they're in the breakfast chain, fast food chain business. And they said it's not going to impact their business. But hey, if people are still buying these, I guess there's a market. But let's take a look at this story here. Meat eater vegans. Meat alternative isn't as healthy as some people are led to believe. Okay. It may look and taste like beef, but it comes with more sodium and 18 refined ingredients. Beyond Meat and beef. Beyond Meat has 20 grams of protein versus 33 grams of protein. It's ultra processed, kind of like that pink slime we talked about. It can lead to weight gain, diabetes, hypertension, and other diseases. Made from pea protein, it could mislead customers. Let's take a look.
Vegan burger has pea protein. They think it's the same as eating a plate full of peas.
Okay, so Beyond Meat is better for the environment, but not better for your health. Good to know. I've always felt that this conspiracy to push vegan products on all of us is kind of a plan to get rid of livestock production, which is very efficient for farmers to actually raise livestock. But the thing is, it's hands-on. Whereas the powers that be, the New World Order, if you will, wants to push GMO, soy, and plant-based burgers on us because they don't need humans involved in it. They don't need humans to process that food at all. They actually can use machines, can grow soy burgers. Yeah, that's why they really want to eliminate people completely from Sunstar says true. Yeah, most processed foods have too much sodium. And you know what I've been saying about the wasteful amount of salt in our diet? Number one, it triggers heart disease. It can cause hardening of the arteries. But most of all, old people rely on frozen food. I'm just going to apply some common sense here and tell you what I think. Back when frozen food first started, food was normally stored with salt in it. So instead of lowering the salt in the frozen food, they kept the same amount of salt they would put in canned food and put in the frozen food. So now old people who are like buying the healthy alternatives are getting like 800 milligrams of salt in one little tasty bite, which is not enough to fill them up. So they end up eating 3 of them, which puts their salt levels too high. So, as president, I plan on informing the Food and Drug Administration of a plan to segue to lower salt alternatives and to minimize the cost through packaging. We will actually urge companies to use stickable labels saying reduced salt on them right over the back of the ingredient list. Until they actually rework their labels, we should just start cutting back on salt. Very simple plan. I happen to wash my hair because today's Wasteful Wednesday. I'm trying to cut back on the water. Yeah, it looks kind of like lettuce. I know. So I have a wig. I'll be wearing that in 54 minutes, which will give you the opportunity of seeing me with a wig on. All right? Because this is actually not a hairpiece. This is my thing called my real hair. Yeah. So I'll be doing the wig in about 54 minutes. Hey there. Stop being ageist here. Thank you. If you guys are 110 years old or more, feel free to hang out in the room. We try not to make fun of people who've lasted a lot longer than they ever should have. I have been watching the movie 16 Candles. It is a person who looks like me. The Image. Yes. 16 cans is racist and sexist. I don't look a bit like that guy. He's like he's got brunette hair. I don't look like him. All right, thank you for your suggestion and comment. You can't be 29 forever? Really? Bummer. Why are you telling me that? That's shocking. I thought you can be 29 forever. I'm a little bit shocked. Yeah, I heard from an insider, according to Mozart. He says, I heard from an insider they spread a lot of weird chemicals on Seattle region. It's a test region. You're right, they do. They're turning Seattle into a homeless mecca for homeless people. They get to stay there. If the cops see them doing anything bad, they put them in a little bus and drive them around the block and put them right back on the street. Well, I don't know. We're not part of the 29 Club or the 27 Club that Jim Morrison and Hendrix and Janis Joplin all died of. Yeah, we're not into that club, man. We don't support that evil concept of death at a young age. I'm preaching more of a non-mortal scenario where you may be, living longer. They say that right now on our Earth, there are people that are going to live to be 1,000 years old. Yeah. That's what they say, that organ transplants are currently being processed with stem cells, creating organs designed specifically for your particular DNA. And if that technology really is happening right now, anybody can have their body parts replaced if they're in, early stages of a disease. I do not embrace transhumanism, but I do believe that working on stem cell research that would allow us to live longer is certainly a noble goal. It really is. Nixon's head was already reanimated, and he got blonde hair and he started talking like me.
I want to make this perfectly clear. Haldeman and I worked with John Dean, and we had no knowledge of Watergate. And that nuisance we called Henry Kissinger, he tried to smoke pot with me. And I said, Henry, I'm not going to make that legal.
Mr. President, I would like to see if you would like to smoke a bit about the cigarette.
I told you I don't want that evil weed in the... Go ahead, let me take a hit. Henry, Pat's looking even better.
Bubble pet, yeah. Hey, the reason why we pretty much saw marijuana become illegal was because of Nixon. And during that time period, they made it was listed on the list of controlled substances that were illegal. Even though marijuana does not in any way cause any physical addiction. Plus, it is medicinal. Now, if it's medicinal, it can actually cure your body and help you, bless you, and save you from the evils of the toxic world we live in. Many of you are suffering from the vagaries of extreme toxicity. You have learned to move rapidly to avoid the dangerous toxins. But marijuana is a definite medicinal benefit. It will help. And I think a lot of you are kind of beginning to think that, well, should I try it? I say no, because if you try marijuana, you're going to want to smoke it again and again. It's too good. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger has said good things about it. Yeah. Look what he said here. This is not a drug. It's a leaf. Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. It's a leaf. Yeah. Yeah. I've never seen him smoke pot, but he definitely said that. Yeah. 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 You are a black Trump supporter that I smoke some good. Now I'm down with the ATP. Hey, Voodoo, what's going on, man? Yeah, I understand. A lot of Trump supporters are migrating over here because, they know that smoking marijuana is good for you. Yeah, Chilinyo Ninja. That's right, man. Right on, man. But the fact is, many of you don't realize how important legalization across the country will be. Right now, people that smoke pot are technically not able to carry certain firearms in certain states. Can you believe that? Because of no national law? We've got people who are wondering if their kids are going to be taken away from them in some states if they get high. I'm not kidding. I did not do drugs. I am simply human. I simply spell it differently. Human. All right, now we have another discussion I talked about in the pre-show, which didn't get into this particular segment. We have a story about, it's a story about Boy Scouts who are pedophiles and violate the children. Yeah, let's take a look. This story from NBC News. Attorneys make a plea for what they're doing is they're representing a lot of the people who've had children violated by their scoutmasters. And I was talking about this for 2 years. Now we're finding these people are suing the Boy Scouts of America. Remember, Rex Tillerson was the president of the Boy Scouts of America for 20 years and not one person was prosecuted. Well, now judges are going to be looking at these cases up close and personal. Apparently, there is up to 350 different pedophile scoutmasters still working in the Boy Scouts, or they call it the Scouts now.
Discussing and announcing a lawsuit that we filed in the Court of Common Pleas of Philadelphia County. We are, at this table, a group of attorneys who have band together since February of this year into a partnership and a group called Abused in Scouting. The three law firms have banded together to make it known to the public and to those who were in scouting many, many years ago that there is a crisis in the Boy Scouts. When a young boy is out in the woods alone, looking to become a leader himself, looking to establish his self-confidence, looking to learn new skills, and is taken advantage of by someone he looks up to. This is a crisis that affects that young boy his whole life.
While it's true as a society we've learned much about how to protect children in youth organizations, but the idea that men about whom you know absolutely nothing about are going to be entrusted with your boys to go out in the woods away from their parents overnight in circumstances where they're totally exposed, and despite the fact that evidence that this has been going on in the Boy Scouts for decades, if not longer, there has been no congressional oversight, none.
No congressional oversight, none. So not only did Rex Tillerson not do anything, our former Secretary of State, but yeah, now we're looking at nothing happening to advance the arrest of these pedophile scoutmasters. And I understand now that your daughter is going to be lured into scout meetings and trips and backpacking trips, and you don't even know if they're safe with all the boys there. Oh, this whole thing is a nightmare. Now, I was a Cub Scout when I was a kid. I went all the way through the Webelow program. I was very proud to be a Cub Scout. And I was really looking forward to joining the Boy Scouts because my father was an Eagle Scout. And he had an amazing history of being an Eagle Scout. But when I went to one meeting back in 1972, I think it was, I was 12 years old, drifting out of the Webelows into the... I went to the one meeting and all I heard was some loudmouth a-hole screaming out S word and the F word every fourth sentence. And at that time, it was not appropriate to hear the S word or the F word. And I thought that was a really low bar for me to join. And I said, no, I'm not joining a group of foul-mouthed a-holes. And I use that word sparingly. So you have to understand, there's 14,000 plus instances of Boy Scouts being molested and not one prosecution. So what these guys are doing right now is really, really bold, and I'm glad they're finally doing it. So good job to the attorneys that are representing these people.
A lawsuit that we filed in the Court of Common Pleas of Philadelphia County. We are at this table a group of attorneys who have band together since February of this year into a partnership and a group called Abused in Scouting. The three.
Okay, so the group is called Abused in Scouting. We'll see what happens with them, where they go from there. Yeah. So the Dow Jones is hovering above 26,000, and we will see where this goes from there. Yeah, it only went up 22 points, the Dow Jones, so we're not seeing much action right now. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But yeah, apparently they refer to 120 allegations of sex abuse to law enforcement in Pennsylvania. Yep, that's a good start. They've had a few case stories written about them. Yep, a new lawsuit says a boy was abused for years in the Boy Scouts. You know, a lot of these stories really you have to hear the abuse stories to really understand what this is all about. Now, you know that our country has been pretty lenient with top officials who violated children. We all know, going back in time, Pizzagate was completely overlooked by our government, and now it's bannable offense to even use the word on Twitter and Reddit, which makes me think they're trying to cover that up. Yeah. But prior to that, there are the allegations of 14,000 kids being abused that went unnoticed in the media about 5 or 6 years ago. Here's a story about a man who created a group called 8chan, and he believes now that he shouldn't have created it at all. He had this testified in front of the FBI recently. Founder of 8chan wishes he could uncreate the forum popular with white supremacists. Frederick Brennan no longer has control of 8chan, but said he now feels that he must speak out about what has become. Moments before the shooting in a Walmart in El Paso, the suspected shooter appeared to have unveiled his plans in an anti-Hispanic, anti-immigrant rant on 8chan. The site has experienced intermittent outages since 8chan's internet service providers announced they no longer work with the site. I'm not sure what that story. I can tell you that I've been hearing stories that 8chan is being populated and controlled by the CIA as a disinformation channel. So you go from there. Yeah, they may want people to be inspired to be white supremacists because remember, the government seeks to divide our country, not unite it. They've proven to be that way in many different ways. Even the two-party system, you can see, is clearly trying to divide the country every day. I can't get near Trump unless I'm chosen in a high capacity. If he were to hire me as VP for the upcoming election, I would consider that. But I need a certain amount of clout and power in order to even get close. Because obviously I don't feel safe around any of these Republican or Democrat pundits who constantly, keep taking my ideas. It's not about applying for a job, working for a man who stole my ideas. I mean, come on, the guy's going to need me eventually. And if he doesn't want me, then it's on him. He loses his opportunity. I know they teach the kids every year that no one should go into your tent that isn't family and no one should touch you where underwear goes unless it's a doctor. But let me tell you what one of the scams that one of the Scoutmasters pulled in America. He would claim that they'd always bring one less sleeping bag. And somebody would have to pair off. And he would claim that he would take one of the kids in his sleeping bag. This is how he did it every single time. And he's still doing it the same way. He always pulls out one sleeping bag less out of the group so he can force one kid to sleep with him. This is just one eyewitness account of what they do. I heard that from someone. Yeah. Okay, you got the Chihuahua news?
Yeah.
Okay, the creator of 8chan website linked to the El Paso shooting speaks to the AFP. Okay, this is the guy that created the 8chan channel. Okay, let's take a look.
I think this will be the final nail in the coffin for 8chan. Is it a cesspool for hate? You know, the site is really big, but yes, there is definitely a cohort on the site that is extremely hateful and that is very happy whenever these shootings happening. There has to come a point where this is going to end. I don't know if this shooting is going to do it. I hope so, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. But I hope this is the final straw.
Okay, since we're in the world doubting any of this because we've seen no forensic evidence to conclude that anyone died, we've researched the names of the alleged shooter and the victims, and they didn't exist in this area. There were postings of the news event 2 or 3 days before it happened, implying it was a fake event. And now somebody like that is in charge of an 8chan program. You know he's being used by somebody above him. Whoever he is, he's been hijacked by somebody way more powerful, probably working through the NSA or the CIA to foment this desire to paint Americans as white supremacists. This has been going on for some time, and Trump, that whole pushing him to the forefront of American politics was designed to create this idea that white people are somehow white supremacists, which is absurd. And then you look at all these people who are speaking out in favor of taking away white people's rights in the Democratic Party, and you see the DNC chair claim that she wants to stop white people from talking in her own party. Yeah, that story came up earlier. Here she is.
So that we are all fighting alongside each other, so that we are all on the same page, and we clearly get where we're going. We're not going to break through this. This is not just rhetoric. This is life or death. This moment in our country, the Democrats want to say, oh no, I'm not prejudiced. I'm a Democrat. I'm accepting. My job is to make sure that they get that they have privilege, and until we shut our mouths and we listen to those people who don't, and we...
So she's telling all white people that they should shut their mouth at the Democratic Party and listen to people that don't have privilege. I'm sorry, lady, but all white people are not privileged. In fact, we're the victims of affirmative action for the past 35 years. Make that more than 35 years. Yeah, more like 40. Thank you. More like 45 years, ever since the Bakke decision. We, American people, have been constantly labeled as white people and received no scholarship funds, unless, of course, we lie like Elizabeth Warren and claim that she was Cherokee Indian. Then she gets a full ride all the way through Harvard Law, and it goes on to become a professor, a minority professor. Good night, Max. Sleep well, man. White people are living on rice and beans. Yeah, don't think we have privilege. That's a Democratic misnomer. Mark doesn't need to censor people that they allow in here, Saffron. You're one of the few people allowed in here. A lot of people try to get in the show and they can't. They're not allowed in. Right, the USA has made it. We were all immigrants at one time. The Born Supremacy official. Oh, thanks. That's 2011, man. Why do you want me to do the Born Supremacy? I like that movie, by the way. From the current owner of 8chan, Jim Watkins.
What a sad weekend. I just finished watching the President of the United States give his condolences to the families of the victims of the El Paso Walmart shooting and the Dayton, Ohio shooting. It is a tragedy for those families. It is a tragedy for Mexico and the United States of America. It is indeed such a sad day and time in the history of the world. The worst sort of monster shoots up random people.
See, again, this guy looks like a shill to me pushing gun control. He doesn't look like a guy who built 8chan. He looks like a federal informant. I mean, come on. What the hell are they trying to pull? They got these people thinking that they're going to somehow get noticed. We're going to say you started 8chan, you and the other guy. And they empower these people who are disabled or in some way deficient. You see how easily manipulated those people are? They'll say whatever the CIA or NSA wants them to say. So I have it upon my belief that the CIA has compromised 8chan and 4chan and spreads rumors. We had people from 4chan coming in here last week saying, "Oh, Dave, we're hearing that you're a shill." Yeah, where are you hearing it? From 4chan. That's the government trying to make it seem like I'm not an average American, which I am. Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to belabor the point. Enough about me, right? Yeah, coming up in 30 minutes, I'll be putting a wig on. So if you can hang out, it'll be fun. Oh, more about the Northern BC murders. Uh-oh. I'm getting Canadian news for some reason. Everywhere I turn now. Ever since I didn't join Google, they just give me Canadian news. Autopsy scheduled on bodies believed to be triple murderers Brian Chmielewski and Cam McLeod. They believe these two murder suspects are dead. I don't believe these are murder suspects. I mean, they were murder suspects for Canadians, but what happened was these guys they had their car stolen and torched, and some old guy with a beard was found dead right nearby. And a lovely couple, a man and woman, died as a result of encountering the old man. So everything looks like there's somebody else involved here. I'm amazed that they believe that these two people were the murderers. I had this whole thing figured out a different way. Amber feels great. Yeah, she's got CBD oil every day. Okay, we'll have a little ad here and then we'll play. Apparently a lovely couple were up there traveling and they were doing hot spring things when they died. And these two guys that were allegedly the murderers, now their bodies have shown up.
I can't tell if there's a boat there yet. I don't think the boat's there. Yeah, I don't think so either.
Coroners pulling the bodies back out of the water area. Highly unlikely these two men were the perpetrators. No, Amber was suffering from a hairball, it turns out. Yeah. We're talking a slow-moving van, meaning carrying the bodies of the two decedents. Okay, so they removed the bodies, RCMP removed the bodies. Why they thought these two young men were the perpetrators, I don't know, because I don't think they were. I think these men were captured by somebody else. And I still think that there's a serial killer out there. Well, none of their behavior looked like the actions of a murderer. Why would they torch their own truck, for one? Why would the man who was seen arguing with a young couple with a beard, why would he be found dead nearby? This looks like a third party of some sort or some fourth individual that is not related. Yeah. It's highly unlikely they would just die spontaneously. So it does look like the RCMP has the wrong take on this case. I'm kind of an armchair criminologist without a degree. And I spent a lot of time looking into mysterious deaths, like obviously Anthony Bourdain's death did not look like a suicide. Anthony Bourdain was found with nearly $12.5 million stolen from his account the night he died. How could anyone do that? Why would anyone get rid of $12.5 million worth of net worth and then commit suicide, leaving his daughter with a paltry $1.5 million? And like the other case recently, the situation with the five NYPD suicides in the homicide division, that looks like a massive NYPD cover-up. They're killing off people that know too much. I mean, this is just an armchair criminologist perspective that we've got a lot of stories that are not being investigated by our own investigators. And whatever RCMP thought these two guys were doing, they don't look to me like murderers. I think there's a third or fourth party out there doing the dirty deeds and they're still loose. Oh yeah, I think they should investigate Anthony Bourdain's death, the 5 New York PD officers' deaths, recent Border Patrol officers that shot themselves 300 miles apart down near Nogales, New Mexico. That looks like they were shot to death as a way to tell other Border Patrol officers, you say something about what's happening and you're dead. It looks to me like a massive cover-up at all levels. I'm not just a guy who just aligns himself with these conspiracy theories. I do a lot of research, and I can tell you that there are major question marks in almost all of these cases of suicidings. Let's not forget Judge Scalia, who was found with a pillow over his face. I know, Ivan. I mean, they say he had a heart attack. Well, they pulled Judge Scalia's body out of Poindexter's Cibola Ranch. Within an hour of him being found dead, he was already going to an embalmer where they pulled his blood out completely. He was embalmed within an hour of his death. Why would that happen? And why did 12 cars, security cars, virtually follow the ambulance to that location? And then Justice Scalia, of course, Italian Catholic, would never ever authorize for his cremation. They went ahead and cremated his body on top of that against the wishes of his family. Then they forced his son, who was a military officer, to approve of this, making it so that he wouldn't even have a job in the military if he didn't approve of his dad being cremated. So they virtually got rid of all the evidence of Justice Scalia's death. And everything from the beginning to the end of the discovery process points to foul play. More than enough to convince me of a cover-up. Yeah, armchair private investigator, exactly. Well, when we have the internet, a lot of us have turned to the internet to do research. And I'm no different than you. And I spend a lot of time looking into these cases, and I have probably 30 or 40 that I've actively looked into that look to me like absolute murders. Remember Kate Spade, the famous purse designer? They still sell her purses everywhere. Kate Spade, her husband Andy Spade, the brother of David Spade, the Saturday Night Live entertainer. Yeah, Kate Spade's brother, Andy Spade, was married to Kate Spade. 2 days after she died, he was seen walking outside of his apartment with a rat mask on, or a mouse mask, from The Rescuers, a Disney show about a child abduction. Now, ironically, he has a little red scarf around his neck, too. Now, why would Andy Spade wear a mouse mask with a red scarf around it when his wife, just 2 days prior, was found hanging from a red scarf? Ligature marks indicated suicide, or did it? Was there an investigation? And let's not forget that all these people connected to this are related in some ways to the Clinton Foundation. Kate Spade was a very active member of the Clinton Foundation and made big donations to Bill and Hillary. Anthony Bourdain claimed in a tweet prior to his death that the Hillary Rodham Clinton Foundation or operatives were harassing him. Yeah, that's very, very evident. That's strong evidence that needs to be investigated. Yeah. I know, Joan Rivers. Do you know that they did not perform an autopsy on Joan Rivers? Melissa Rivers revealed this in her oversight case. The news ran with it. Joan Rivers never had an autopsy done on her. So we don't know how he cut her throat. But the man who killed her literally cut her throat. Melissa Rivers settled out of court for an undisclosed amount after suing the Yorkville Endoscopy Clinic. But the big question is, was Joan Rivers killed for what she talked about prior, 1.5 months prior? People don't realize that Joan Rivers was the one who made it very clear that Michelle Obama was and is a transgender. Look at this.
The country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president.
We already have it with Obama, so let's just.
And do you think that the country will see the United States will see the first gay president or the first woman president?
We already have it with Obama, so let's just calm down.
Got it.
You know Michelle is a trans.
I'm sorry, she's a what?
A transgender. We all know.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we all know it. We can see right there that there's a penis there. I know. Yeah, it's very sad what happened to Joan Rivers. She really, she spilled the beans about Michelle Obama, and I don't think people in the know wanted that out. How do they control political officials? Well, they compromise them. If Michelle is a transgender, they've got the goods on her. If Barack Obama is gay, they got the goods on him. The strange thing is Barack Obama and Michelle Obama met with James Alefantis and Chris Crocker and a couple of videographers. Not once, but 5 times they came into the White House, according to documents regarding the guest list. Chris Crocker, in case you didn't know, was the guy who came out about the Britney Spears video and went viral. Was a transgender. He's now claiming to be heterosexual, but whatever. You guys probably remember him from this. His outright concern that, you know, people were screaming about Britney, and he's saying he was protecting Britney and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, this is a dude pretending to be a woman back then. He's now, you know, now he looks like this. This is his new look. He claims to be heterosexual now, but anyway, you're looking at a situation where why would he and James Alefantis and a camera crew go in to visit Michelle Obama and Barack Obama 5 times while Barack was the president? My theory is that Barack Obama has damning sexual video that could be used against him, so they keep him in check by veritably, you know, taking pictures of people in compromising positions, and that's how they control our political officials. It's not a big surprise to imagine that. We don't know what his deal was. Bottom line is he could even be a shill for the New World Order. I don't know. I have no idea what his deal is. But hey, shiny puffy coat. Nice to see you're in. Thank you, man. Oh, right. You're not in. Okay. So if they use the sex tapes that they have on Barack Obama and Michelle Obama as leverage, they can keep them all, you know, basically controlled. If they do anything out of the ordinary, the sex tapes will fly and their lives will be turned upside down. So they keep them dancing that way. This is not some imaginary thing that goes on in Hollywood or in DC. It really is how they control people. And they use these sex crimes or acts that are deviant as a way to manipulate politics. We saw it happen with General Petraeus when he was asked to testify in the Benghazi hearings. Hillary Clinton was right out there exposed. Trey Gowdy was going to ask questions. Apparently, General Petraeus was approached by the FBI a day before he testified in the House subcommittee room. He actually was told, that they were investigating him and his relationship with Paula, a journalist, and they had videotape of him going to a motel many, many times, compromising positions with a woman cheating on his wife. General Petraeus then went in the next day and testified nothing he said had any bearing whatsoever on Hillary Clinton or how they reviewed the case. He basically deferred any questions, so he didn't have to answer anything that was implicating Hillary Clinton. So apparently somebody got to him too, because they finally settled with General Petraeus out of court. He had a plea agreement to accept his felony, and he's on probation now. So they keep General Petraeus on a short string so that no one will talk about Benghazi or Libya. So General Petraeus will never talk because they know they can pull his probation and put him in jail at any time. It's how they control anybody who knows anything who's still in play and hasn't been terminated. That's really what's happening. And I think it's pretty safe to assume that they'll do anything to cover their ass. Because these are the most corrupt people in the world, and they will be doing that forever until we, the American people, stop them. And it's highly unlikely we'll ever stop them if we can't build a political movement to stop them. That's just a side note. Anyway. Now that the story is a closed case on the collusion or conspiracy that Donald Trump was involved with Russia, doesn't mean that Donald Trump is not involved with Russia. They've closed the case on it, which makes me wonder if the Democrats have been compromised, because they're pushing hard for gun control right now, and that's exactly what Russia would want to do, is disarm the American people. So it's very likely that Russia has been buying off our Democratic officials and our Republican officials for a long time. Now, if you're a Republican or a Democrat, you're beginning to wonder whether Donald Trump or the Democrats are working for Russia. I would hope you would wonder. Because now we know that Donald Trump won't even admit that Russia affected the election. He won't get any serious play from Putin on this issue. And he seems to be doing whatever Putin says, and according to Mueller, he was blackmailed during the election over the sex tape. So all this makes you wonder, well, who's really controlling this? Why are they calling this the new norm? Why aren't they prosecuting Donald Trump, for one? Because they themselves are complicit with Russia. They've always been working with Russia. Even when asked about a certain oligarch working with the Democrats, Mueller was asked about this person and said he could not discuss it. It was out of his purview. So there's top secret information about Russia controlling the Democratic and the Republican Party that's now no longer available to the public for review. We'll see if the redactions come out. 9% of the 448-page document Mueller created, which I think is a joke. It's incomplete. It's missing all these things. They're still redacting 9% of it, and they're using this ridiculous argument that Roger Stone has got a trial pending, and they can't show that information because it could impair the trial. I mean, what a crock of crap. I don't want to take away your guns, and I don't want to put people unnecessarily in prison because our prison costs are costing your tax dollars too much. What I want to do is just get back to an equilibrium that is not manipulated outside of our country. If we got our country back, we would no longer have these foreign elements affecting our critical decisions. Trump obviously is working for very large financial sector people that simply want to control our country. He's already got people implanted. Goldman Sachs is pretty much in bed with Jared Kushner. He works for Goldman Sachs. So not only did they have a presence in Obama's cabinet, but they got a big presence in Trump's cabinet. Yeah, it would be nice to have an upright, moral, and actually honest person, public servant, helping the people. I agree. I didn't choose a life of riches. I chose a life of modest living and simplicity. And I was able to achieve relative comfort at a very young age, and now pretty much have no worries whatsoever. But I don't invest. I don't waste my time worrying about money. I don't take out loans like Donald Trump does to expand business. I'm just happy the way I am. And that really makes you, the people, gives you an opportunity to have a real American who's not viable represent you. A big difference between myself and Trump. He's greedy, I'm not. Trump is just playing the gun control thing. He's now representing gun control, just like I said he would. He's talking about a new litany of tests for people with mental illness, all new bureaucracy, unbelievable new red tape. They're issuing a red law. Lindsey Graham has created a red law that he's putting together. Yeah, red flag law they're called, and Lindsey Graham is behind this. So what this is, if you Republicans want to know, is Republicans like Lindsey Graham and Trump are actually talking about pushing for red flag laws to take guns away from people in crisis. Yeah. Lindsey Graham is behind it. Others are as well. Democrat Salud Carbajal, Democrat, introduced by him and Lindsey Graham. And Richard Blumenthal from Connecticut. Big gun control state, Connecticut. But Lindsey Graham is a turncoat. By the way, Lindsey Graham has received $800,000 from a Russian oligarch for re-election. Lindsey Graham is working for Russia. So any attempt to push gun control in America right now has got to be suspended, in my opinion, because any attempt by Lindsey Graham or anybody in the Democratic or Republican Party is working for Russia's agenda of getting rid of our weapons. They want to completely de-weaponize the American people so that we won't be able to defend ourselves against a takeover. That's pretty obvious. Well, Trump is going to get people angry at him no matter what, it's true. But he hasn't done anything really strong to help the American people. He's given tax breaks to the rich. Most of you now are paying more taxes than you were 3 years ago. Right. Well, the Russians are not really the bad guy here. It's the people running Russia, the Zionist elitists, the same people running our country through AIPAC. The Zionist elitists have their ultimate goal of a new world order, and that's why they're trying to disarm the population. Okay, I'm going to get ready for my my wig night here. It's Wednesday. Let me pull up the wig. Came all the way from across the country to get here. Hallelujah. I thought for a while I'd lost it because it is kind of a nice wig, but I'll put this on and see how it looks in a few minutes. So Mad Magazine is going to be shutting down because fiction is now stranger than reality. Yeah, they can no longer make jokes about leaders because everyone that we call a leader is a joke. Which is kind of the truth. The whole truth and nothing more than the truth. Should we go back to China and the terrible pollution problem, or just forget about it? All right. Yeah, if you sought help on a crisis line 10 years ago, you could be one of those people that are in crisis. And they could come to your door and take your gun away based on these new rules, these red flag rules. I don't support them. I don't support any of this anymore. We're on a slippery slope, and they're trying to take over our country. Now, if you're a true American, you won't be voting for Trump in 2020 or a Democrat. You'll be thinking about America's third party. Otherwise, we will have no alternative in this nation. We could unite the country in the center. The Democrats can't unite the country. The Republicans can't unite the country. So this is our best shot. Plus, we've got really good ideas that we've promoted, like hybrid capitalism, where we get the government to run efficiently like a business and lower your taxes as well. Many of us are going to be seeing greater tax burdens because Trump gave tax breaks to the rich of $5.5 trillion. And if you're a hardworking American and paying taxes, you're going to be hit pretty hard in the upcoming round of new taxes. Whether there's a basic income on the table in 2020 is really up to whether the Democrats can overturn Joe Biden's power, because some people have stolen my basic income idea, like Andrew Yang, or Elizabeth Warren's now pitching the idea. Many of those people are not going to be able to fulfill that goal, but Biden will probably never pitch a basic income idea, because remember, the Zionists control the election here. Biden is a Zionist, Trump is a Zionist. They'll put Trump against Biden, and then they'll hope that a third-party guy who's anti-Zionist doesn't rise to the top of the heap. And they're doing a pretty good job of censoring me in the mainstream media, so they're pretty confident I won't actually get my word out. That's where all of you come in. You keep telling people about us, the word gets out there, and eventually the news will have to talk about this. We got Diamond Bar people, fans of Dave, thanks. You're trying a fruity concoction? You're dedicating to the fruit enzyme spray? Cool. I really believe that the country can become, we could have a leaner government with less wasteful people in various agencies. We could get smarter, where we RFID chip all of our livestock and the USDA becomes less important. And we begin to sell our concept of really good quality beef to European nations when we can track every single day of the life of that animal. We could open up the beef industry to the European market. That would be huge. Another area where I want to trigger growth is I want the government to fund a fishing operation in and around New Orleans, where we filter the water going into the fishing operation and we create better quality shrimp, better quality clams and mussels. Improve the quality of our product, our fishing products, and start developing fisheries that will sell a lot more fish worldwide. We're really kind of dropping the ball here because we've got a great opportunity to compete worldwide in these markets. In Diamond Bar, you can get a 99% Chinese made from China. Okay, thank you. You like Diamond Bar. It's a beautiful area out there, yeah. Well, Diamond Bar, California is my old stomping ground. I used to hang out around there. I had a friend who lived out there in the valley. Yeah, home gardening can be promoted. Tax breaks for self-sustainers. Tax breaks and possibly even a kickback to people that homeschool their kids. All those things are possible in the future. Absolutely. But we're not going to solve the problems of our economy unless we look at its key stopping points. We've relied on venture capital to fund operations in our country. Private venture capital. Like Barack Obama gave $530 million to Solyndra Corporation, which took the money in and didn't produce hardly any solar panels. We didn't get anything for that money. We lost it. And Obama lost $1.5 billion when he donated money to the Fisker Corporation to make a car that goes 100 miles per gallon. Nothing happened. They took the money and ran. So we lost $2 billion there. Obama lost $15 billion to GM. So we've got a lot of mismanagement at the top, and now Trump is just throwing money left and right away. All of his big money investors, contractors, love to make money on the money that's coming in. Trump recently got approved for $2.5 billion for the border fence. Do you hear him talking about that at all? No comment. He used the border fence idea to get elected. Yet I can create a border fence out of containers for $1 billion. Trump hasn't proceeded with anything to stop the influx of illegal aliens because Trump merely used my idea. He copied my idea, but never implemented it. He basically used my idea to get noticed, and he has essentially dropped the ball on that. So now people who are wondering about the illegal aliens coming to the country left and right are saying, why isn't the fence built? Trump has no interest in building a fence. He's merely a New World Order puppet, and they want to weaken our country with open immigration. So Trump is just buying a little time for them while they regroup and continue opening the border without any chance of a fence ever being built. And those that are profiting from the $2.5 billion are working out side contracts to make special fencing in certain areas. By the time $2.5 billion will be spent, we won't have more than 1 mile of fencing because of Trump. Yeah, real bad management at all levels in this country, far beyond our comprehension. Most of us can't even realize how stupid our country is. That's how stupid it is. Now, I just drove around the country in an amazing way, and I found unbelievably bad infrastructure. The roads, when you get off the beaten track, are so bad in Indiana, in Illinois, in Pennsylvania. They're so bad when you get off the road that you literally have pothole after pothole of cracks opening up where they were patched, and now they're opening up again. So Trump is not allocating any money toward fixing our infrastructure, or leaving states penniless when it comes to dealing with that, and states are misappropriating the money in a way that gives contractors huge road construction jobs, but the infrastructure in the cities, we're all hurting our tires doing that, driving around in the cities. It's unbelievable. I can't even believe how bad the roads are in Chicago and Cleveland. And I went off the beaten track just to see what they were like, and they're just abysmal. Our country is falling apart. We have bridges that are falling down, right? So you talk about Wasteful Wednesday. Our government is misspending money so rapidly on things that should not be worked on instead of focusing on things that should be worked on. Bad roads. Wait a second. I got a face spray again. Hang on. Thank you. The word bad roads gives me kind of a stressful moment because I just got through 10,000 miles of bad roads. Okay? What about the ones that have been there 10 years before Hurricane Katrina? I know. Tell me about it. I know we're starting to look like a third world nation, guess 585. Good point. I got a few videos I got to put over there in my channel selector. So we're working on a couple things right now. Gunman allegedly posted 8chan. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Born Supremacy trailer? No. This guy, another guy, kind of a 8chan guy who claims these people look like they're being used or manipulated by somebody above them. They don't look like people who designed websites. Neither one of them do. Very suspicious. This whole 8chan thing reeks of government involvement. Okay, we got that in the lineup. Okay, I'll put the Born Supremacy in there too, because I want to see that again. Just 1.5 minute trailer. Why not? Good show. Okay, we're just putting things in our lineup for tonight. Got it. Oh, this is an active shooter drill that has happened in schools, and has shocked the people. The kids that were there were traumatized, and these government officials act like this is something we should do.
And we have to be prepared for that. Deputies and local officers had to locate the shooters and neutralize them. Then clear the building so that paramedics could treat the wounded. It's a lot of practice and preparation for the unthinkable, but they believe it's training that could save lives.
The tragedy in Las Vegas has certainly changed everyone's mindset, and it, once again, it's got everyone thinking. We want everyone to be aware, because I think that our awareness is what would hopefully mitigate a circumstance such as this.
It's better to know than to not know and have something happen like that.
While everyone hopes these students never have to use this training in a real-life situation, law enforcement says it's best to be as prepared as possible.
Oh, come on. You're literally causing post-traumatic stress disorder every school you do this in. This is outrageous. They should not be allowed to waste your tax dollars to initiate drills on every school campus in America. Hello. We've got geisha girls watching us from Kyoto. Hello. 1,069 geishas. Ladies, welcome. I hope you're taking very discreet baths every night. Staying clean. That's important. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Okay. That's you and Odin. Are you in there right now? Did you join the... the show? Oh, you're not up yet. Yeah, we have a cams now over at iVlog, iCat Fluffy. But you're having a hard time getting into iVlog, aren't you? We don't talk about Frank here. The fact of the matter, Whiskaboo, is you said the latest shootings were all false flag incidents involving brainwashed stooges. The deal is, Whiskaboo, the false flag evidence is all there. We have solid evidence that they posted the listings early on, all over the internet. 2 to 3 days before the event, we have proof that they posted listings of the news event. So they got advance notice of the attack, meaning it's been contrived. Also, people looking into the names of the alleged decedent and the assailant have found no names matching their names. They're made-up names. This is obviously stuff that's been posted on the internet days before the event, and they're getting away with it. Yep, so all of this is predated. If you want to take a look at this proof, go right ahead. Here it is. Yeah. Yeah, so we are still waiting for credible evidence of these events. I can't jump to conclusions without credible evidence, and the government is not producing credible evidence of any of these things being real. So at this point, it comes under the heading of this is a propaganda maneuver by our government to actually push gun control upon us. Now, since they don't want to prosecute Donald Trump for colluding or conspiring with Russia in the election, even though he did, and since the government doesn't want to address issues in the future where foreign governments control our election, and they're calling this the new normal, it's safe to assume that our government has been completely compromised and now they're trying to disarm us. Oh, hang on, it's wig time. Okay, that's not exactly how it's supposed to look here. Hang on. He's Mr. Cool. I'm Mr. Blue. Now this is not looking right in here. This is a little bit off. Hang on. Hold on. Nice, Fluffy. I'm Mr. Wig. Woo. I don't know. I think my real hair looked better, but whatever. It's not bad for a wig. It's pretty tight to the head. Let's see if I can put some sunglasses on and look even more sporty. Hey, how are you doing, everybody? I look like an insurance salesman. Yeah. Wigs are supposed to be tight, yeah. You can hardly tell this is fake. I think it's one of my best. I don't have a lot of wigs, but this one was worth $39.99. For only $39.99, you too can own a wig. It's made with the German silk. Made in Austria. Okay, we're good there. We've got eyewitnesses claiming, laughingly claiming that they saw people at the El Paso shooting. We've got Beto O'Rourke. This woman says she saw a man with gunshots, but nobody saw anybody dropping. She just saw a guy blasting a gun, and it could very well be blanks, for all we know.
¿Y cómo estaban vestidos? Yo los vi de negro. Okay, so you saw more than one person dressed in black shooting inside the Walmart.
¿Andaban ya uniformados como policías o...?
No les vi la cara, solamente les vi por abajo para subrayar.
Okay, so she saw more than one person, even though the alleged story is only one shooter was occurring. So here's a woman claiming she saw more than one person, yet only one shooter's been named. Again, a glaring contradiction.
Yo los vi todos de negro y traían short puestos, no traían pantalón, eran short.
Ah, ok.
Y eran ellos los que iban disparando, porque yo nomás vi esas pistolas largas cuando ellos iban así, porque yo miraba la lumbre que cargaban.
So she saw 4 individuals running in there in shorts, all dressed
transfer them to other facilities in BC should this fire pose a greater threat in the coming days. We can see 5 shuttle buses on standby in the facility's parking lot. If you take a walk with me, you can see the proximity of this prison to the Eagle Bluff wildfire burning just over my shoulder in the hills above Oliver. As a precaution, an additional 100 high-security inmates were moved to other max security jails in the province on Tuesday night, according to the union representing corrections workers. The Ministry of Public Safety refuses to confirm or deny the movement of any inmates, citing security reasons. Meanwhile, the human-caused wildfire has quadrupled in size since Monday, now mapped at 900 hectares. The fire service says progress is being stifled by hot weather.
Temperatures in the high 30s, very low relative humidities, and we had upslope winds, so it was the worst combination really of conditions to really cause explosive fire behavior last night.
The Asiyus Indian Band putting 10 more area properties on notice.
The current fire situation, we just go by whatever the Forest Service tells us, and they tell our people to put on evacuation alerts, and that's happened the last couple of days.
More than 200 properties within the regional district also remain under evacuation alert tonight. No orders have been issued. The wildfire smoke is deteriorating air quality. The smoky skies warning remains in effect.
So this is north of Washington, Okanagan, as it drifts into Canada. So there are real pictures there proving that there really are fires happening. But I now have a piece of real footage brought to me in the show of what appears to be an actual shooting at the Walmart that appears to have dead people in the pictures. So we'll be looking at that up close and personal. I know. If not for me, we'd all be sheep going, bah, I believe everything I see. Anyway, I argue that the need for gun control is not as great as the need to correct our medical disasters going on right now. Yeah, there are more people dying from hospital-borne infections and bad sterile technique and doctors that don't know what they're doing by far, 10 to 1. 250,000 people a year die from bad doctors. 25 to 29,000 of people die from gun-related attacks. And, you know, if there are going to be people attacking large groups of people, theoretically, they could easily use weapons like gasoline. I mean, arguing that guns have to be taken away is not going to stop dangerous activity from happening. If it's not for you, you'd be getting your work done. Yeah, I know. Well, this is my work, so I'm getting my work done. You can go back and do whatever your work is. I know many of you have projects you have to finish, and you don't have to be in here, but I appreciate watching. Don't get me wrong. But we are constantly filtering through the news to see what's real and what's relevant. And if it's real and you can see it, it's relevant.
Meanwhile, the local tourism industry is taking a hit with cancellations. Operators want to get the message out that they are still open for business.
There's a little smoke in the air, but it's not that bad. The fire is way away from the town.
There's a little smoke in the air. It's not that bad. Please shop at my winery.
Research where you're going. It doesn't cover the whole area.
I guess if you had respiratory problems, then it's probably not a good idea. But if you're okay with it, it hasn't been that bad.
The height of fire activity in this province typically occurs in August. The fire danger rating remains very high to extreme across the Okanagan Valley.
Danger, Will Robinson. William, there's dangerous, William. Danger, Will Robinson.
You cannot control me. Okay, so we're done with that story. That's been really special. And I guess we've pretty much wrapped up the news here. Protests chant as Trump visits Dayton and El Paso. Making light and using these events as his launching pad for pushing gun control. Many of Republicans really are wondering what kind of a party you have now. A party of gun control activists like Donald Trump? Tim Ryan is attacking Mitch McConnell.
I am leading a caravan in my official capacity as a congressman, working with Moms Demand Action to start in Youngstown and go to Akron and Columbus and Dayton and Cincinnati and pick people up along the way and work.
Oh, God. No, this guy's pushing gun control. Yeah. There's so many out right now grabbing the torch and saying, oh, yeah, we need gun control now. Oh, golly. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, there's so many people being killed. Oh, golly. when in reality they just want to disarm our country so Russia can take it over. That's what's happening. Oh yeah, Russia's working desperately to attack our country from various angles. In fact, this came in tonight. Russia and Iran are staging a joint war games operation in the Gulf amid fears of a dangerous clash with the UK and US forces. So now Russia controls Trump. They can do something with Iran and trigger a Gulf crisis. Now let me tell you how Vladimir Putin benefits from all this, okay? Number one, he's very greedy. Number two, he wants the price of oil to go up. Oil, right. So he has every vested interest to control Donald Trump and make him screw up relations in the Gulf because he wants the price of oil to go up. That's what Putin wants. That's why he's messing around now with war games to trigger our aggression, knowing full well he has the goods and has been able to blackmail our president. Yeah, this is a pretty screwed up situation, and if you're in the military or in our national intelligence service, you're probably wondering what the hell is going on right now with Donald Trump. Well, because you didn't act on all the credible evidence that Donald Trump has been conspiring with Russia, we're now in the crux of a very, very vulnerable position as a nation. And I personally will not sit back as a citizen of the United States and act like everything's fine. Far from it. And unlike the Republicans, who seem to be a bunch of traitors to this country who accept Russia controlling our election because they want to profit, I'm not greedy like they are. And unlike the Democrats who want to tax and spend constantly and just rip everybody off so that they can put their projects together and that they always fail these projects, I want to reiterate, I'm not like those people either. Tilly B is in. Are you showing your weapons now? Okay. Well, that's not advisable, man. Oh, that wig, though. Oh, I know. Isn't that great? That's Wig Wednesday. I thought I'd throw it on. I didn't pay $39.99 for this for nothing. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people have owned firearms and have never used one. You're not the first. Believe me, a lot of people just use it for home security if they ever get attacked. And there's more than enough evidence to suggest that having a firearm and allowing handguns and home response systems, shotguns, actually prevent home invasion significantly. It's a Marsha Brady wing? Yeah, I know. It's a story of a man named David who was the long-lost Brady Bunch boy. He was alienated from Marsha's life. Marsha. I met Marsha. She actually was a very religious lady. This is Jan, isn't it? I met Jan, I should say. Was that Jan Brady? Or Marsha? I think that was Jan. I'm pretty sure I met her. Maureen McCormick, yeah. No, Marsha. Yeah, it is Marsha. Oh, that was Marsha. Wow, I guess I met Marsha. She was very religious. She asked me for a Bible. I said, I don't have a Bible, but you can get a Bible at the Gideon's Bible at the hotel near you. That's Marsha. I met Marsha. How about that? You really need handgun training? You're used to an M16 on a pistol? Well, I don't think you need handgun training. You just need to learn how to hold a handgun. Yeah, you got to make one thing clear when you hold a handgun. You don't want to put your thumb over the other thumb, like that. That's a recipe for getting your thumb cut off. Always grab it by the base. That's the most important thing when holding a handgun. Otherwise, it'll recoil and take your thumb off. That's all you need to know. The rest is pretty much common sense. This is why we don't see much raw video from the shooting. Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. YouTube policy will not allow violent or graphic content. Okay. Well, I'll have to do something with that video to remove it from the final cut. Yeah, 45 minutes before what I'm doing tonight is I'm going to be editing as much as I can the videos that we have. And I'm going to be doing I'm going to be doing a complete combined edit because there's a XSplit's not running right. I have to update it. It had a couple of crashes tonight. Yeah. Well, not many people are prepared like we are to do what has to be done. We can dance a jig or whatever kind of dance you want in the show. We're all very trained dance musicians. I did true blackface, yes. I did. I did a blackface impersonation of Barack Obama. It's true. It is true. I did a true one. Yeah. You can't hold that against me. I don't think I need to do another blackface. It inspired enough video coverage for me over the broad spectrum. It's done its job. I'm not here to denigrate black people. I'm not a denigrator. I actually am an integrationist. So a lot of you people who are less of an integrationist probably wonder, who the heck are you, Dave, to doing a blackface video? The reason I did blackface video because I needed to make fun of the New World Order puppet homosexual Muslim president we had, Barack Obama. It was very important I make fun of that guy and use obviously blackface to do it. Otherwise, people wouldn't understand why we Americans are protesting the New World Order. I never asked Marcia to do a hotel to get a Bible, but she asked me. I used to work at a bookstore, and Marcia asked me for a Bible. She said, "Do you have any antique Bibles?" And I said, "No, I don't. Have you considered a motel?" Creepy, huh? Who the hell are you looking like Dennis the Menace? I am the Wig Wednesday David. I don't look a bit like Dennis the Menace. I mean, the 1960s character, yeah, no way. How can you possibly say I look like him? Yeah, really. I mean, that's a stretch of the imagination, if you ask me. It's David and Dennis the Menace. Hey, Mr. Wilson, you want to come out and play? What do you say we hang out and clean the garden hose together? Yeah, clearly I don't look a bit like this guy. That's just an outrageous thing to say. It's the Beatles haircut, yes. I am not Alfred E. Newman. He was not funny. They're closing Mad down. It no longer exists. They're shutting down the show. Mad is no longer going to be distributed to some of you people. This is when the story really gets good, because then I have to ask the big questions. Why? Mad TV? No, Mad TV's long gone. They are long gone. Mad TV is one of the best television shows that ever played. Get copies of the CDs. They're well worth watching. We have a request for What's Going On. Whoa. Dude, for sure. Like, what's going on, dude?
Hey, do you ever wonder, like, what is going on? I mean, like, do you ever, like, wake up or do something and you're just like, what the fuck is going on?
No, I don't. I don't wake up like that, no. Great. Up, up, and away.
Out long shot.
Wow.
Would you like to ride?
I like that song. I'll be playing that tonight. Thank you for that link. Love it. Love it or leave it. I know. It brings me back to the 60s. I'll be grabbing anything I can grab to fill the hours tonight. We've reduced our 4-hour video segment to 3 hours because some of you need to sleep. But I've been getting requests for people to see the show well into the evening from Europe. And I know that I've cut it off. You guys can't see me in the wee hours of the morning. That's a problem. Yeah. This is not good. Many people like to see show late at night in Russia. It makes a very wrong thing for you to do, Mr. Sponheim. The term racist never meant anything prior to 1972. You do a wiki search for the word racism, and they claim there's a book written in the 1930s called Racism. But it doesn't exist. It does not exist. There's no book written called Racism. They called it racialism back in the day. When people felt superior, their race was superior. I mean, blacks could be racialists, whites could be racialists. But then somewhere around 1972, they started concocting this word racism. But the wiki doesn't say that. They want you to believe it's an ancient word. They did it to drive a wedge between the races. And they're trying to divide our country as a result of it. I don't know who the next shooter will be, because right now they're hiring crisis actors that they're going to see who's going to pretend to be a shooter. Yeah. The government is so actively creating crisis events left and right that they can go live with any event, anytime, and the mindless, bubble-headed, bleach-blonde idiot reporters go, oh, we have a news story, breaking news. Something terrible has happened in our local area. We have to go live to that story. Yeah. Then they get their feed from the AP, Associated Press, and it tells them what they're supposed to say, and then they run with the story, and voila, we're all brainwashed. Oh yeah, those were the days when you thought Dungeons and Dragons were the devil. I know. Ooh. And Up, Up and Away with the Fifth Dimension. Bubble Rock. Okay, we'll do that too. Thank you so much. It's always good to have a great new old movie, a retro old movie to play in our show. I love that. Up, up and away, my beautiful balloon. All right. So a lot of people were arrested prior to Trump arriving in El Paso. They had the largest U.S. immigrant raid in a decade with nearly 680 arrests, all of them hardworking Mexican Americans living with their families going, I need to work a little longer to pay for the college education for my familia. And then they get hauled out of their house after working for 20 years in America from the chicken factory down in El Paso. And Mr. Trump is now sending me back to Mexico. So a lot of families right now are really sad because of Trump's draconian behavior toward families that have been living here, albeit illegal, for years. Meanwhile, Trump has done nothing to stop the porous border, and it continues to spin left and right with all kinds of people coming in. As you know, my 1,000-mile container fence idea could easily be built, but Trump doesn't want to do that. That's right. He wants to sell more and more things to contractors so they can make money, and he can make a side profit. Pretty screwed up, if you ask me. I hear you, buddy. Viva Mexico! Hey there, Frankie. You got some YouTube videos for me tonight? I'll take it. Let's see what else you got. Saffron rice. Meet some of the cutest dogs on Amazon? No. Not going to do that one, sorry. I'm looking for longer videos that we can play tonight in our 3-hour possible show. Okay. Okay, the top news stories: the bodies of 2 Canadian boys that were suspects in the murders of 3 people now they've found the bodies. I just don't believe that they were the murderers. Yeah. And protesters chant as Trump visits El Paso, Dayton. Yeah, okay. Protesters pro-gun right people think that Trump is bad. There is no link to Mr. Right. It's only our show. That's the only way you can watch it or hear it. God, Puerto Rico has sworn in their new governor after the previous governor resigned after weird hacked or tweeted. He made some really bizarre statements in chat. Puerto Rico's Justice Secretary Wanda Vasquez as the new governor. Oh, look at Wanda. Check it out. Wanda Vasquez. Oh, Justice Secretary Wanda Vasquez has been sworn in as the U.S. territory's new governor. Wanda Vasquez, yes. I just want to see her name again and again. Let us see. I don't think she's the woman in back. I think she's the woman the woman in back is holding the Bible. Wanda Vasquez is the lady on the left. Wanda Vasquez. Here she is. Swears in. New governor. Okay, very happy. Ricky Martin gave his support to Puerto Rican protesters. Ricky Martin. Okay.
Ya Puerto Rico ha sufrido muchísimo y no podemos más con el cinismo de estos líderes.
Oh, I thought that was George Michael for a second. Ricky Martin is still alive. Yeah. Okay. Ricky Martin, yeah. Okay.
So there's subway, there's self.
Walmart footage, surveillance footage. Let's take a look.
Checkout.
They've been to the Walmart.
Oh, hundreds of times. Yeah.
But Danner Barton and his mother Rachel.
It's shocking to me that somebody can do so much damage and not even care.
Won't ever look at it the same.
He's just running so fast and so just pushing people away that nobody probably even noticed.
Minutes before this surveillance video was taken, 16-year-old Danner was driving his mother's Subaru about a mile from the Tumwater Walmart when he spotted a man running down the middle of the road. The man, Tim Day, fired into the windshield, nicking Barton's thumb. Police say Day was in the middle of a series of violent carjackings, and he next stopped at the Walmart because he needed more ammunition. Videos show Day running through the store to the sporting goods section, and when he finds the ammo he needs, he shoots the display case, takes the bullets to the counter, and reloads.
He just looks so like he knows what he's doing, which is kind of crazy.
As Day runs out, pointing his gun at customers, 2 who have their own weapons follow him out. A camera captures Day trying to carjack other drivers, and he ends up shooting one, Ricky Feevey. And moments later, one of those armed customers.
Look how he came around the car. He was perfectly placed.
Oakville firefighter and pastor David George shoots and kills Day.
That's got to be the pastor.
Danner's injuries were minor, but Feevey, the other shooting survivor, spent almost 3 months at Harborview. The family just got a new house with a ramp for his wheelchair. They hope Feevey will walk again someday.
Yeah, what is he doing?
Danner, who just started college, knows he's lucky. And after seeing what happened at the Walmart, he remains grateful.
It's cool to see that there are people there that are willing to sacrifice, their lives to go help and to stop this guy.
Drew Mickelson, King 5 News.
Thank you, Drew Mickelson from King 5 News. Yes. It's good that there are good people out there stopping criminals like that at Walmart. Yeah. So that is a real story. Yeah. Yeah. See, there you had a real story with real video footage, and you really saw it. We're still debating on that live leak footage we just saw. I'll be looking at that tonight regarding the El Paso shooting. Yeah. I'm still not convinced that these things really happened, but I guess it takes a lot to convince me. And what do you do with this? Well, like I said earlier, they can create weapons out of gasoline. So what are you going to do, ban gasoline? I mean, let's be realistic here. This attempt to get gun control is simply an attempt to disarm the population. Yeah, the media wants us to believe that we must rely on the government to protect us. I know. Well, I support the idea that teachers should be armed,
or at least there should be a security guard at every school. That alone would be a very big deterrent for people going ballistic in schools. I'm surprised we haven't allocated funding at the federal level to get security guards in schools. I would have if I were a president of the United States. At the very least, armed security guards could be janitors. They could double as janitors. We could offer this as a side income for janitors if they wanted to have gun training. They'd be able to be armed guards as well as janitors and make a little extra money. That's one way to do it. Because janitors are almost always around at schools. Yeah. Yeah, the idea of arming teachers was our idea. Trump stole the idea. But whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as it works. But he didn't act on it. He never even bothered to get federal funding for teachers to be armed, or for anybody, for that matter, to be a guard at the school. It just shocks me that we've got people working at schools making good salaries. We can't afford a security guard? It's absurd. Of course we can. I mean, every student in America gets upwards of $10,000 to $30,000 per student in federal funding and state funding combined. $10,000 to $30,000 a student. In some states like New York, it's huge. Why can't we afford a security guard for $40,000 a year to stand there and guard the school? It's illogical to me that we wouldn't have that money set aside. So this is a case of wasteful spending by our government in every direction. And let's not forget that the government has been wasting money left and right over the years without solving problems. Well, if the guards aren't mentally stable, they'd be screened for that. We could give personality exams to anybody carrying a weapon in schools. Tiddly had ops. We gave him ops earlier. I don't know why he got pulled off of ops. Yeah. I guess when you come back in and come back out, you lose ops. The show quit a couple times. I'm here. Yeah. So in your city, the school district has their own police force? What city is that? Is it in Canada? I didn't realize they had cities around here that had police forces. That's news to me. The show's been down all morning for you? Why don't you go to Cool Rock and watch it? Cool Rock will get you in there. What the hell? Just go there and use Opera. That should solve your problem, Anita. Now, some of the darker things in the world that we need to look at. Stories that have gotten very little coverage. Now, I cannot verify this as a real story or not, but Macaulay Culkin has openly stated in this Daniel Solis report that Hollywood elites murder children during rituals. If that's not the most disturbing story, I don't know what is. You can check it out for yourself. He blew the whistle on Rami Malek, claiming he ate babies, but Macaulay Culkin claims he only got out alive because he was smart and suspicious, who got too famous to be killed like some of the other kids. Wow. You learn very early to recognize which of them want to abuse you and which of them have even darker tastes. The worst of them wear shoes made out of the skin of children, he says, that they ritually murdered. Now, these stories are almost impossible for average people to even understand. But, hey, being I'm an average person, I want everyone to know that there are stories that really belie a very deep, deep problem within our government, and they're covering up for many of these people. If Macaulay Culkin is the person who's absolutely responding here, their source is Neon Nettle. So, I don't know what Neon Nettle is offering. Perhaps the same story. Yeah. Hard to believe that these stories even get coverage. But here it is. It looks like the page you're looking for has been removed. Huh. So a link to another site shows it being removed. What are they covering up? Very strange. It's really sick stuff, and there's a lot of people talking about this cover-up of the 600,000 emails that Anthony Weiner had. Yeah, that site was scrubbed. You saw it right before your very eyes. Neon Nettle had the story set. So it was copied by Daniel Solis.cz. The stories are still out there. Whether they're true or not, we can't verify. Yeah, a lot of child actors never really made it that far. I mean, Rick Schroeder has been involved in a lot of problems recently. The Academy Award winner Rick Schroeder has been in the news with all kinds of allegations. He's been arrested. The NYPD Blue Star has been arrested for alleged crimes, domestic crimes. The second time in a month. This is an older story, May 2nd, so this is about 5 months old, but this is a guy.
And news tonight about actor Ricky Schroeder, the actor best known for Silver Spoons and NYPD Blue, has been arrested for alleged domestic abuse. He's accused of hitting his girlfriend. Police were called to his home in LA County early this morning. It's his second domestic violence arrest in 30 days.
Nothing new on Rick Schroeder. That's the last we heard from him. I don't know who or what reveals will come from Michael Jackson, but we've already had people claim that Michael Jackson's still alive. So that's a common story we hear quite a bit now. That he faked his death to get out from under pedophilia charges. Yeah. So we've been through a few stories that just get weirder and weirder. Sacha Baron Cohen actually opened up a can of worms when he ran into, during one of his skits he was pulling in Vegas. He ran into a restaurant or a hotel concierge, and he asked the guy, while he was in character, he asked the guy if he could procure children for him. And the guy actually said, yeah. How many and who do you want? And all kinds of allegations resulted from that. When he was playing this character, Sacha Baron Cohen actually uncovered a crime ring of pedophiles in D.C. He referred all of this information to the FBI, and the FBI has done absolutely nothing with it. To this day, they have not pursued the case against the concierge who offered to put this guy in touch with a lawyer who could help silence a boy who was abused. Yeah. And then he says, what do you mean a date? I go, like a young man. He says, well, what kind of age? I say lower than bar mitzvah, but older than 8. And he says, yeah, I can put you in touch with somebody who can get you some boys like that. Now, Sacha Baron Cohen has actually revealed this to the FBI, and they never bothered to pursue a case against the concierge. So we've got a country that's got FBI agents ignoring pedophilia. We've got, worse than that, a case where our country ignores the actions of its own country, of its own agencies. The CIA has actually been outed by one guy who says that he had supplied pedophiles with children when he was working at the CIA. That's right. Wow. That story just got butchered. Take a look here. Content has been blocked. Look at that. Huh. That story was not blocked last week. The guy was talking about how the CIA was involved in procuring children. Weird stuff, yeah. John Kiriakou had been an agent for the CIA for 14 years and left the agency in 2004. He's also associated with Hollywood. John Kiriakou, let's look his name up. Former CIA. Here he is right here. Let's see if we can get a story on him tonight. I'd love to have a good video on this. He became a CIA whistleblower. We got a TED conference here we can work with. Okay. So John Kiriakou he did a TED thing. I'll put that in the video lineup. He's now talking about Brenner and others. Huh.
Any kind.
That's a 10-minute TED Talk. I'll bring that tonight in our show.
Is evidence of treason. John Kirikow was a longtime CIA counterterrorism officer in the Middle East, Pakistan, all over the world. He was imprisoned for a couple of years by the Obama administration.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about that. He's apparently testified that the CIA is involved with pedophiles. Okay, we got that going for us, which is nice. Unbelievable. I know, it seems like they're all drug, sex, criminal, media gangsters, mafia gangsters. Yeah. Thanks, Tiddly D, for stopping an attacker on our show. That one guest is here. We're opening up the Tiddly D to offer operator status, see how he handles things. Yeah, you got a video on YouTube? I'll take a look. 10 minutes, good.
Okay, so it's
Police think this man is too old to disagree with him.
It's 5 o'clock and you stopped me under the Road Traffic Act, that's fine. So how can I help you? Would you like me to move somewhere so you're not standing in the road? I would like you to provide us with your details, a copy of your driving licence and a copy of your insurance. And then I'd like to speak to you about the manner of your driving.
Okay.
Now, as a police officer and as a person, I'm pretty laid back with things.
Yeah, me too.
However, bearing in mind it's a 20-mile-per-hour speed limit round here.
Yes.
You came to undertake me first of all in the bus lane, doing over 20 miles an hour because I was doing 20 and you came up the inside of me. You then
was clip.
Agree on that.
We'll play this for you later tonight. That looks like fun. Amazing. Okay. We went to Cleveland. Yes, we went to Cleveland. I encountered these things in the Cleveland area. I'm trying to find out what they are. I'll show you a picture of them. There are a lot of these types of towers up above in Cleveland. There's a whole line of them right here. I Google mapped this. This is one of many cities in the United States with these towers over the area of most traffic. And I have yet to find a single picture of what these things are on the internet. I've been looking all over. Oh, okay. He was claiming I was anti-Semitic. I'm not. I like Jewish people. Yes. Right. Anybody who claims I'm anti-Semitic I'm glad you banned them. Thank you, Tiddly D. Yeah, I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm anti-Zionist. And it's not the old definition of Zionism. I recognize Israel as a state, as a nation. It's the new definition of Zionism where they're trying to create a new world order. That's my big concern. Okay, we got that in the lineup, which is nice. Cool. Well, that's interesting. That video had a picture of an agent, and now it's no longer got it. Ever since I exposed the story, they've trimmed the picture. Now, according to the experts, that the Walmart shooting happened in Texas, killed 22 people. The death toll rose. It was originally 9 and 18 injured, and now it's 22 people dead. As the suspect has been charged. Now, he did live, so we'll see if this turns out to be a real case, and we'll see where it goes from here. Hard to say. Suspect has been charged, survey says. His grandparents released a statement.
Yeah, I'm a friend of Larry and Cynthia Brown, and a Christian friend. We go to the same church, and just a neighborhood friend. So they have the statement they would like. They asked me to let you know how they feel. And this is from Larry and Cynthia Brown. We are devastated by the events of El Paso and pray for the victims of this tragedy. Patrick Persis is our grandson. He lived with us in our house in Allen, Texas, while he attended junior college, Collin County College. He moved out of our house 6 weeks ago and has spent a few nights here while we were out of town. His driver's license and mailing address were at our house in Allen. That connection has made us a focus of media, of course. We are talking only to law enforcement agencies and will not be making further statements to the media. We request the media to honor our privacy.
Well, I'm sorry, that's not good enough. We don't want to give you your privacy. The media's out in front of their house right now. Yep, and Puerto Rico swears in Wanda Vasquez as the governor. I'm trying to find out what the old governor of Puerto Rico chatted with that caused his ousting. Governor of Puerto Rico. Chat. Leaked hundreds of pages of a group chat in the message application. He had group chat released. Some of the leaked chat members, this guy was chatting and he leaked it. He had to quit. For a while he was rejecting calls to step down after leaks of hundreds of derisive and offensive private chat messages between him and members of his inner circle. Apparently all of that 900 pages was released on a message app, Telegram. Profanity laced, homophobic, misogynistic messages about fellow politicians. So that's why he stepped down. Good to know. We got Elvis, My Beautiful Cat Fluffy. Cool. Another commercial. Elvis is alive. My Beautiful Cat Fluffy is playing up Elvis tonight.
Moments this week. Look at them. This was the scene as crowds were tear-gassed on Monday.
Look at that. That's in San Juan. The governor there is refusing to step down despite growing calls after messages with very sexist and homophobic remarks were leaked. Rosa Flores is in Miami covering the latest. He's not denying any of this. He's just saying, I shouldn't have said it.
He's being defiant, Poppy. He is digging in his heels, and even though he has apologized, he's saying, I'm not going anywhere. Take a listen.
Mi responsabilidad, y siento que es una gran
My responsibility is to continue working and provide you with these results. One will always face different challenges. This is a big challenge, but at the same time, we must fulfill our objectives.
Now, there's been reaction from Puerto Ricans all over the country and, of course, on the island. Even presidential candidate Elizabeth Warren took to Twitter this morning in support of the protesters that have been taking the streets on the island, in Miami, in Orlando, asking for the governor to step down. But of course, he's being defiant. He is not doing that. And the situation in Puerto Rico seems so unstable that even Royal Caribbean canceled the stop on the island, saying in essence that they don't feel it's safe for tourists to stop on the island. Now, all this after about 900 pages of messages were published by the Puerto Rico Center for Investigative Journalism. Now, these messages were exchanges between the governor and 11 of his top aides and cabinet members. They date back to December 2018 and January 2019, and they are against politicians, celebrities, even members of the media. And they have a very nasty tone. Some are homophobic, some are profane, misogynistic, and some of them even take a very vengeful tone against politicians, including the mayor of San Juan, Carmen Yulín Cruz. But again, Puerto Rico is still reeling from Hurricane Maria, and now it's being, in essence, caught in this political storm that is threatening the governor and his administration. Two of his cabinet members have already stepped down, and last week, two of the former administration officials were arrested by the FBI for federal corruption charges. Jim and Poppy.
Okay, so the FBI is getting in on it. This is pretty much a character assassination of the president, the former president of, or governor of Puerto Rico. And I was just trying to track what had happened. It looks to me very much like a character assassination at the highest level of this guy, and a release of documents that could have been probably scraped from any NSA server watching over them. So who knows, was Donald Trump involved in getting rid of that guy as governor? Because remember, that guy bucked Donald Trump on many different levels. Remember when Donald Trump said he spent $97 billion in Puerto Rico? It turns out it was only about $11 to $12 billion, and that governor made it very evident that that's what was going on. Yeah. So who knows? This could have been a takedown by our own government against the governor. Now they've got another person in there who's hokey dokey. Yeah, ready to do whatever they tell her to do. Yeah, a little bit more controllable. Yeah, letting a woman take over the position. We shall see. I mean, it did look like they tried to vilify the guy and get him out quick, and they did. Could have been a hit on the governor of at least a political hit on the governor, enabled by our own agencies. You never know. The FBI being involved makes you wonder. Yeah, whenever they get involved in cases like this, you got to wonder, why are they breaching their authority and going after a foreign country within our territory? Very strange. Yeah, it's like, I don't even know if the FBI has purview in our territories. They might. I don't know. That wig is rad. Yeah, totally. Well, thanks for coming in, Saudi, and talking about my wig. Yeah, doing the show gives me the ability to actually maintain composure under all circumstances. We won't be doing a full show on Friday night, but we will be doing a full show tomorrow night. I'll be doing a cooking show at 5 p.m. and we'll do the full show till 1 in the morning tonight and tomorrow night. But Friday we're doing an abbreviated show, and we won't be doing a Saturday show because we have to continue this whole process. Sarah has some family members we're going to entertain, and it's still part of Sarah's vacation time, so I want her to have the full enjoyment of her vacation. I know, technically we're still on vacation, but we have opened up the regular show since we're back home. I know. I'm sorry to do this to you, yes. I'm hoping to broadcast more than 2 hours on Friday. It depends on when I get back. No more wakame tuna, no. I'm making Swiss chard burgers. No, Swiss chard burgers will be on the list for Thursday tomorrow. That's right. I'm trying to activate your microphone. It doesn't seem to go through. I can't do a cast with Sarah's family. They're totally private people, and I certainly want to respect their privacy. We got some more videos, live videos we'll be playing tonight after the show. I mean, as we go into the video hour in about 2 minutes, 1 minute, is more live footage from the Walmart shooting. We'll be playing for you as well. I have to get rid of any blood evidence because YouTube will knock our show right off if I upload anything with blood evidence in it. They really don't like that. The media kind of slowed down quite a bit during our time away. When Trump obviously felt vindicated that he wasn't in any way being charged with conspiring with Russia, and since the Democrats have proven to be so useless and incompetent, and unable to actually prosecute Trump on any level whatsoever. It's not as though that Trump and the connections to Russia are not there. They're all over the place. It's just that the media doesn't want to talk about it anymore. So the media has become kind of a non-media. We're now looking at, just mild stories and Trump running around threatening Iran and North Korea, which is his usual behavior. More Donald news? Okay. Trump may commute a sentence, another one, of former Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich. Well, consider Donald Trump is offered the seat of Secretary of State and Secretary of Education and Secretary of other people for a possible money exchange. For him to give Rod Blagojevich a pass for offering the U.S. Senate seat of Barack Obama up for grabs for money would be a complete irony of the highest order. I mean, Donald Trump sold pretty much the Secretary of Education position to Betsy DeVos, who gave him $9.5 million in donation money, which is illegal, as well as $200 million to the Republican National Committee. Betsy DeVos did that right in front of our eyes, and yet no one prosecuted Donald Trump for the very same crime that Rod Blagojevich is spending 14 years in prison. So now Trump is entertaining the idea of freeing Rod Blagojevich. I thought he was treated unbelievably unfairly. I'm thinking about commuting his sentence. Well, I'm actually okay with that. I think Rod Blagojevich has been treated unfairly. I agree with Trump on that, but I still believe that Trump may have sold positions in the U.S. government. I'm pretty sure it is. Yes, we have sprayed my entire donation of fruit spray has to be replenished due to these sprays in our show. We are ready to go now. This is a 5-hour broadcast, 4 hours recorded. You guys just experienced me back in the swing of things. I'm going to retire in my tent camper here. I'll be out hanging out in the outback. That's me up there on the chair at the top, while I hang out wondering what the heck is up next. Yeah, what's coming in the news tomorrow? I'll see you guys tomorrow. Yeah, Thursday is going to be our cooking show at 5 p.m. with Swiss chard burger. And after that, we're going to be doing a couple of dance jigs, and that'll be it. All right, signing off with a full-on song, the Mr. Right reality check. Touch up that wig a little bit, okay? Thank you. The end of Wig Wednesday. All right, I'll be glad to get this wig off my hair. It's kind of a hot and bothered kind of situation. Good night, everyone. Sleep well. Take care.
You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good to be true. You spin my world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. My Mr. Right, too good to be true. My world around, 'cause you're the peace I finally found. You sweep me off my feet, my heart stops to beat, 'cause you make me melt away. To beat, 'cause you make me melt away. You're Mr. Right, my Mr. Right, too good.